All right. Masters and Apprentices. We are ready to
Things
go.
aren't gonna go the way you think.
Everybody queued up.
No.
Okay.
I'm trying to find it. Why can't I find
I
it?
sent you the link.
I found it. All right.
Come on, Dustbin Cheeky. Stick with us here. Keep up. All right. Ready on 3, 2, 1, play.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
I'm mindful of the living force, young Padawan.
You will be tempted by the dark side of the Force.
One must destroy in order to create.
Master. It's been a while. Things have changed. Sometimes we have to do what's right.
Confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi.
Buckle up.
Never be afraid of who you are. Pass on what you have learned. Repair what they grow beyond. That is the true burden of all masters.
Ahsoka, 2-episode premiere streaming August 23rd on Disney+.
All right. Hold on.
All right, Overbite Yoda. Shut your freaking hole.
Overbite.
I really liked that one.
Yeah, I like.
I mean,
way
it's
better
not
than the other,
really about the.
That was like
Ahsoka
a fan.
series,
That was like a fan trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like a
was-
fan trailer, but
Just
yeah, it
kind
had
of
a
took
good,
a
a good
theme and
vibe to it.
connected
I enjoyed that.
Yeah,
It was
that
neat
good.
mixing the whole history together like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed that. That was much better.
I just wonder. We still don't. They keep dropping Jedi, 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 and we don't really know what that even means at this point. Because
And we even
Ahsoka's been
had a
very
shot-
clear that she's not a Jedi.
Yeah, she.
And we even had a shot in there of Sabine, which we still don't understand how suddenly she's got force powers if she does, but her igniting a lightsaber against someone with a red saber. So yeah, I don't know. That shot was in that trailer we just saw right there.
A friend I was talking to was wondering about Sabine and the possibility of force powers, and we were talking about the training she had with the dark saber with Kanan. And it's interesting that she didn't have the difficulty actually holding and wielding the dark saber that like Mando did when he was trying to train with it. And we wondered if that might have something to do. She might be more force sensitive, but maybe her Mandalorian training, has kept her from utilizing those powers or recognizing those powers. But then there's also the problem that Bo-Katan could wield the dark saber very easily. So does that mean that she has force
Right, does that
powers?
suddenly mean she has force powers?
Yeah.
I categorize that stuff totally differently. It's like dark saber wielding and lightsaber. That's just two totally different things for me. So having like kind of like what we said a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about this. It's like it's one thing to just use a lightsaber as a practical instrument to cut open a tauntaun or to chop into something or use it like that. It's totally different to deflect blaster bolts or actually engage in an actual duel with a Jedi or a Sith or whatever. That's just
and to use
totally different level.
Fighting against force powers too while you're wielding the lightsaber. I'm fighting against them.
One is an extension of yourself, and the other isn't.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's the whole reason they do these exercises where they meditate and they spin around with the saber and is becoming one with the weapon. It's not. It's like an extension of them and the force and all that. Whereas someone who doesn't have a connection with the force, it's just a tool. It's a weapon. You can get some expertise with it, but it's not part of you. It's not. You don't have the intuition and the link to the force through it. But they've already redefined some of this Mandalorian stuff, and the original Mandalore or somebody back there in their heritage had both Jedi and Mandalorian heritage and could use the Force and all that, and built the dark saber. I'm not sure if the one who built the dark saber was the one that could use the Force or not, but I have to get some clarity on this.
Both
That
the
could be
Jedi and the Mandalorian.
Okay, so there are direct descendants of that person, as far as we know, still around, which maybe Bo-Katan and Sabine is from a large family as well. Maybe they have that in their bloodline, which they've kind of already established the Force can travel through, or be the midichlorians or whatever can be passed through bloodline. So it's possible they have latent sensitivity that has never been unlocked because the Force is anathema to them, you know. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of their heritage and stuff. They consider Jedi enemy. They train in what they train in. They don't, you know, necessarily want to hear about the Force or whatever. So
Yeah.
you could have people running around that have the potential, just no one's ever tested them because they're not gonna let a Jedi on their planet go around testing kids and stuff.
That's an interesting thought.
It's like, these are our younglings. We claim children. You guys don't take the children.
Well, then if we bring this in with with the Mando series, we're headed towards Jedi Knights who are also Mandalorians or who have Mandalorian powers or Mandalorian armor. You know, I mean, you got Grogu. I keep wanting to call him Baby Yoda, who's both a Mandalorian and has been trained as a Jedi. You know, and then now looks like you're having Sabine, who's being trained maybe in Jedi powers. Was she wielding the dark saber in any of the trailers that we've seen? Was Sabine wielding it? Okay.
No, there's been no dark saber.
Okay.
Maybe she'll build a new one.
Oh.
I knew what?
Dark saber.
Oh, maybe. I mean, there's only ever been one, but
Yeah, I mean, she was a character like her might be the one
to do
it again. Yeah. Just to have their own weapon or whatever, to have their own take on it. The dark saber is kind of tainted with a lot of bad history and stuff. So maybe you create your own, you know, based on you held it, you used it.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I kind of really like that idea.
if you're not a true Jedi, you know, if you don't really have the Force and you're embracing your Mandalorian past, you might just say, well, I'm going to build a Mando saber or whatever. It wouldn't be dark. It wouldn't be a dark saber anymore because you wouldn't want it to be tainted with that darkness, you know. The dark saber was, so you'd just create some kind of
and the
cyber blade
that the villains wield are different too that we're seeing.
So and did we establish, is she fighting with Ezra's lightsaber?
I don't know.
Ezra's lightsaber?
Don't know. Yeah, that's not been established now.
End of Rebels, didn't he had his saber with him, or did he give it?
I can't remember. I haven't gotten to the end in my rewatch.
So yeah, I don't remember. It's been about 4 years since I rewatched Rebels, so
okay. I was just
some
curious
of the details.
If she built her own, or if she's got his somehow that she's trying to return to him, or what.
Well, if she is indeed training as a Jedi, building her own saber is going to be an important step.
Right, and they do have the droid in this show who was part of the youngling lightsaber mission stuff, right?
Yeah, that
played by
the one you see in the background, often in the trailer.
Yeah, the one with the weird sort of pointy sided of his head. Yeah.
Yeah. Played by Doctor Who.
Goodness. Okay, so that I didn't realize that's who that droid was. So that's
he's the one that used to
it's that type of droid. Yeah,
I think it's the same one. It's the same one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've heard that it's the same one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere. And I think it's him doing the voice. He even has a line in the first trailer or whatever. I think it's him. Maybe. I could be wrong. But
this gets more and more interesting. And I'm just wondering how Ahsoka, now I'm wondering how Ahsoka is going to reconcile her rejection of the Jedi Order with training a young Jedi, or training at least someone.
Yeah, is she going to keep finding people and bringing them back for Luke to train and saying, I'm not worthy? Or are we going to get a journey for her where she realizes she is worthy to pass on what she's learned? It just may not be exactly strict Jedi dogma or something. We keep waiting for somebody to move beyond that Jedi point, and I think they're probably going to save it for Rey for the
I mean, it's happened in the books and it's happened in the comics. It just hasn't happened on film yet. But Luke, the new character, Luke. But Luke actually broke that already because in the expanded universe and all that, he was married and you know went beyond all that. You know, so it's different. So yeah, it would be interesting to see how they canonize that if they bother to.
Yeah, and
now I'm wanting to see this even more. I want to find out how this is going to be answered. It's when you think about it, it's really intriguing. If you're going to have, there's been complaints that there are too many Jedi continuing, too many storylines focusing on Jedi with the continuing storylines of Star Wars new produced material. But if you're going to keep going with it, Jedi, instead of getting to, you know, there have been people that complained we want more of the people who are not part of the Jedi line and more the ordinary people, you know, in the background of the Star Wars universe. But if you're gonna keep dealing with Jedi, you gotta do something a little different with them. You know, maybe they've got to evolve too. So maybe that might be real interesting to take a character who had deliberately left the order and have them faced with a new order being established with Luke and then other force sensitive people that character's coming across, and then what do you do? How do you, and then on top of that, you've got a new group of villains rising that have force capabilities, you know, so maybe that will draw her back into the fight. I'm trying to remember, there was an episode of the Star Wars shorts. What were they called? The little short episode, Tales of the Jedi.
Oh, Tales of the Jedi, yeah.
Where she had left the order and there was like a village that was threatened, and
yeah,
and
she came back and fought whoever that Sith was that was threatening them.
Yeah, maybe this might be a further part of her evolution and dealing with her own.
Well, it was there was
powers.
two. There was a brother and sister or something on the farm. One of them, the brother, believed in the Empire more, like things were better when the Empire was around, and the sister's like, you're nuts or whatever. So when he started figuring out she might be a Jedi, he reported her for the reward or whatever. And then the Inquisitor showed up and basically killed everyone, like destroyed the farm. And he was like, and the brother was like, I didn't know this was gonna happen, you know. And he saw what the truth was, and then and that was during the time of the Empire.
Yeah.
So the Inquisitors were still around and stuff like that.
They were hunting down the Jedi.
Yeah. And I've heard theories that she may have taken the Inquisitor's lightsaber from that and taken the crystal and made another saber for herself or something like that. Purified it and made another saber for herself, because she left one saber on the planet at the end of Clone Wars for Vader to find.
Right.
And but somehow she ends up with two. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if they answer any of those questions.
Yeah.
Well, that trailer made, or that little piece, thematic piece, made me more excited for this.
That kind of stuff is smart.
Any of the trailers.
Yeah, that was very smart.
Yeah, because you're remembering this is part of a whole. And also you're saying, hey, we're not ripping it off. It's legacy.
Yeah.
You know, you may get tired of seeing the same thing over and over again until you see this, and then you remember how much you love it. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's also the kind of thing the sequel trilogy didn't totally understand is if you pair up the old and the new, you get a better result than old versus new. Or new coming in and replacing the old completely, you know, and taking that attitude. So when you show different eras together, you're going to have fans then looking favorably upon what you're trying to present. Like prequel fans might go, oh, look, they remember the prequels in there, and they're linking the prequels and the original trilogy. Look, they're linking the original trilogy characters, and it opens you more to what you're going to be seeing as part of, you know, what you already loved before. So but then you're also inviting the critics who don't feel you have true continuity or respect. But they just got to show it, and I don't know. We'll have to see. But somebody asked me the other day, what am I expecting from this show? And I said something like some Star Wars type humor.
Yeah.
And then the seriousness to be put on where the thrust of the story is going next. So I expect a lot of humor and fun and adventure, but then I expect it to be serious in the parts where we're expanding upon where this whole thing is going, because they need something to be serious, or it's just, becomes too much of a not serious enough.
Yeah.
So that part needs to be serious, but they need to have the humor. And then I said, and then lots of cool lightsaber fights, probably, and Star Warsy stuff. If they give us that, it'll be good. And now beyond that, you get to the point where, are they going to satisfy fans by honoring this or that, or remembering this or that, or continuity of this or that? And you're starting to get into a lot of different fan focuses. Like, they're going to be fans of Rebels who get their panties in a bunch over the continuation in live action of a cartoon, possibly.
Yeah, they had a pretty rabid fan base.
Yeah, this or that wasn't right, or it wasn't a continuation from the show.
I still have a memory from I forget which one it was. It must have been, when did Rebels end? I guess it ended around 2017. That would have made
probably. Yeah,
because I think it started 2014. So 4 seasons, that would make sense. Because I remember that because that was the celebration that the three of us went to in Orlando, and I just remember, I don't think you guys were with me. I think we had split up at that point. We were doing separate things, because I remember being by the doors when they were letting out, because I think one of the exclusives for that celebration was the final episode of Rebels, right? The ending of the whole show. And I just remember like these girls coming out crying. And I remember thinking, like, for that show?
Right.
Because that was before I'd gone back and rewatched it and actually got to where I like it, all right.
I did
was like
get teary-eyed at some
show.
part.
Like, who cares? It's a good thing it's over.
In my rewatch, I did get teary-eyed at some part. I really
I like it. Like I said, I like it much better now. I hadn't even watched any of it at that point. I'd only seen like the first season. I hadn't watched it in 3 years at that point. I was like, this is just some creepy show that killed my Clone Wars,
Right. Oh, I would have openly mocked them at that point if I had been there. No, I wouldn't have. But
no, I know.
But I would have thought it. But no, I can sort of see that, and everybody has an age where you absorb stuff different. Things hit different. When you're a teenager, preteen, emotions are more intense. You project yourself and your feelings more into your heroes and into books, movies, and things like that.
Like, we couldn't get into the Baby Jedi Adventures, whatever that cartoon was.
I never did go back and watch
the
that.
Jedi infants.
I still need to go watch that. Maybe if
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. I erased all that
Jedi
from my mind.
Care Bear, you don't remember that?
Yeah, the Care Bear stuff. Yeah,
the Care Bear.
We did. We watched the We watched the opening episode. We watched the opening episode, like the first 2 minutes of the opening episode, and did a reaction video to it back about a month.
Yeah, I remember vaguely. I'm trying to stomp it out.
Well, it's just evidence.
Master Yoda, what do we do with these crystals?
That show wasn't made for us. So that's fine. That show is not made for us.
Just making more editing choices for Corellian here. The cave. You must.
No.
You must. What will I find in there? Only what you take with you.
To get back to your quote before we started, hey, Greedo, to get back to your quote before we started.
Right. Everybody edit and your edit pose. What? Reset. You're speaking. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I already said it.
I didn't hear it. It said to get back to my point. What was my point? I don't even know what it was.
I don't know
about the girls at celebration. About people. There's. This sounds.
I was reacting to your cave comment.
Oh no, I was just saying, we all have a point in our lives where we come across the stuff for the first time or whatever. Like there's people. That's why Lucasfilm is smart enough to do that. Put out stuff for kids every so many years,
Oh
you
yeah,
know.
no,
And like we talked
totally
about
understand it.
before, how the Lego stuff
Yeah.
brought a whole generation of kids along who never even watched the movies.
Yeah.
They just knew them as Lego characters and stuff, but they knew all the names and they knew, you know, and when they got old enough, I'm sure they watched the movies or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rebels and Resistance. I would be really shocked if anybody was that into Resistance or
I would
that was
too,
their
yeah.
that was their thing.
I haven't
I mean,
even seen that show.
yes, yeah. But no, all I was saying was there's gonna be a lot of different types of Star Wars fans watching this show because there's points of interest for, which could be very good for them to bring people in. But
Right.
how do you guys think it's gonna do, viewership wise?
I don't know.
I
I'm
think
kind
it's
of
going
torn.
to do really well. I'm just jumping out and making a prediction here. I think it's going to do really well. Maybe better than Mando did last season, because I know Mando dropped off at the beginning of last season. Viewership dropped considerably, but now you're getting an entirely new series, and you're getting a beloved character that's really well established at the center of the series. So I think it's going to do really, really well.
I agree. I think it's going to do well. I think it's going to do better than Andor, just for the same reasons you just mentioned, Gundark. You know, the beloved character and the storyline. You know, basically the continuation of Rebels. It's basically like a Rebels sequel, live action. It looks like. I think that's going to bring a lot of people in that maybe were sort of middle of the road about Andor. So I think it's going to do well. But I really think it's getting to that point to where the quality is going to really demand the audience, or control the audience. I think we're so far beyond the point now of it just slap Star Wars name on it and anybody will watch it. I just think we're so far beyond that now.
Yeah. And also the streaming thing, it's still some weird calculus they do to figure out how many people are actually watching. And then they judge it a lot based on the first week or the week of streaming versus other streaming shows and all this stuff. And people may not just rush to it and stream it, right out of the gate, or there's going to be the hardcore Star Wars fans that will, but I do wonder, the trailers and stuff, it's they haven't built it like this, but you remember like when DC and Marvel will make movies about like the female superhero group or the female supervillain group. It almost feels like that in the trailers, like this is the Harley Quinn and the whoever,
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, well, there was another
or no,
one
that other movie they made about her,
where they put together the female group or whatever.
Yeah, it was all like the female characters that were similar.
Right.
I saw
it
that.
It sort of has that vibe a little, and I wonder, I still wonder about Star Wars lightsabers, female male energy and all that. Do you need Ezra in there to draw that the guy's attention more, or a character like Kanan or whatever, or can Ahsoka, because we see she's a phenomenal character, from everything we see around us in the real world. That character is super popular. Can that character
draw a bigger
be the Wonder Woman, like the original Wonder Woman movie, like bring everybody together? So I wonder about that stuff sometimes, because when you have an action show or something, I still believe that there's a formula where the protagonist is sort of your target audience, a lot of times. And I don't know whether that happens naturally or subconsciously, or they do it on purpose or whatever.
But see, if you apply that theory to this show, it's not just like a female-centric show geared towards a female audience, because Ahsoka's already an established character, a well-loved character with a huge swath of Star Wars fans. So it's going beyond, like, I think, catering to one specific audience when you focus on a character like that. And she's a character who also has already been at the center of 2 animated series and in the live action. She's shown up already in the live action series. And like people like my husband, who had never seen any of the animated series, is intrigued by her when he saw her in The Mandalorian and in Boba Fett. So I think they're doing a really good job in focusing a series on a character like that, if they're going to get a broad audience, I think. So
Well, I kind of use as an example, like there's been a lot of action movies come out where they build it around a female protagonist, and they always action movies always do a certain box office, and then ones that sometimes stand above the others or catch on do more, but they're kind of like horror movies. They put them out a certain time of year, they make a certain box office, they make a certain rentals. But I wonder, I feel like those female centric action movies, it's still guys watching them.
yeah,
I don't know that a lot of women are like, have you seen the one about the Russian double agent female who has to, fight the CIA and the Russians and all this, and it's got all these great action scenes. I just don't hear women talking about, action scenes or there's women that are fans of that, and there's a huge amount of Star Wars
hell, I'm a fan of all
female
kind of
fans.
action
Yeah, I know you are.
scenes.
But
But
I'm
I
just
know
saying,
I know what you're saying.
at the end of the day, no matter how much
those...
they build it around a woman and they make it a female story and they succeed at that, it still ends up male eyeballs on it. I feel like
they're pulling from the original demographic, which is
probably
like geared largely towards a male audience, coming from back to kind of the male.
And so when we've got
science fiction and comic books and all that.
Yeah, we've got Thrawn, we've got Empire, we've got Jedi, we've got bad guys with lightsabers. I just wonder, when you have all female cast and stuff, and then could that affect the viewership at all? Whereas like the guys that may check that out normally might wait or might, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because.
That would be interesting.
I think it'd be a shame, and I don't think people should do that, or I'm not endorsing it by any stretch, because the Jedi are largely sexless characters anyway.
Yeah.
They're just yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're just at different eras of their mullet growth. It's basically what you judge them by. But
no, I see what you're saying. That'd be interesting to know. And I'm sure they have ways of finding that out. I'm sure they carefully study demographics for audiences and stuff. But whether or not we will ever understand it or know,
but like you put out
algorithm works.
Yeah. You put out a meme, and I know Keanu Reeves is a huge star anyway, but you put out a meme saying Keanu Reeves might be showing up to play Darth Revan in some scenes, and that goes tons of people, that goes viral, or what, tons of people pass that idea around. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like people are still looking for, I don't know, some thing, I guess, or whatever. But I feel like Ahsoka is her own character. She's got her own massive journey that is becoming. I even said, is she the main character in Star Wars now? Really?
Yeah.
Whether they intended it that way or not. Whether they intended it that way or not. She crosses all media. If this takes off and does well, and she ends up in movies and stuff,
which
at some
may
point,
very well be if that coming movie takes place, it's going to unite everybody.
And at some point, Star Wars may cross over from being a blockbuster franchise that pulls in everyone to being more of a cult thing. And if it becomes, fulfills that destiny of being more of a cult thing, I see Ahsoka as the main character for sure, because that's where you're drawing all of your cult following from all these different shows and things from, that have been lurking in the background for the past 20, 23 years, so you've got young people, you've got older people who are brought in. It just seems to be something people can agree on that is well done, decently done, and links all the different sagas together, because we've seen Ahsoka trained by Anakin. We've seen her try to save him as Vader. We've seen her with Anakin's son, showing him respect and calling, saying there's no safer place than with Master Luke. She, you know what I mean? She like hits all the right notes for being a character that can bring all these different mini fan bases in Star Wars together. That's
a great point.
Yeah.
And I feel like it may be really needed right now when Disney is talking about cutting back on Star Wars content. If this were a big success, maybe it could help to make them a little bit.
I just feel like the one thing they're missing is the concept. I just don't know what any of it's about. You know what I mean? I just don't get there's no concept right now. People speculate, about the clone with Gideon and the clones, and they were interested in that stuff, but the only concept we seem to be heading towards that we know of is bringing the Emperor back for the sequel. And very few people are really behind that, like excited to see more about that. It's like, I think we've seen enough of that.
And we've already seen the resolution of that. So
Yeah, we've got the end. It's like the
Titanic
Titanic sank. Yeah. So we need a thrust going somewhere that puts new things in jeopardy, that
I
puts
agree.
new stakes out there so that we can be in suspense and speculate again and have stakes, and so anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's the thing they need, is that concept that they've been punting on for years now. We'll just bring the old stuff back, repackage it a little bit, and not explain it.
Yeah, that's kind of like Hollywood as a whole right now.
Yeah,
no new stuff. Let's just redo all the old IPs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's pretty sad. So, well, that's our thoughts on the upcoming Ahsoka series. We got a lot of anticipation, I think, to see where they're going, what sort of payoff we're going to get with this show. So,
I kind of am not. I'm still.
Masters and Apprentices.
I came back from the void and harvested myself. I fell into the trap of the Lars homestead. He who controls the moisture controls the universe.
I need a farmhand.
Not some asshole with his head in the clouds half the time. Owen Lars.
Owen Lars.
Hi, I'm Matthew Wood from Skywalker Sound. I play the voices of General Grievous and the battle droids in Revenge of the Sith and Clone Wars, as well as Bib Fortuna in The Mandalorian and Phantom Menace.
Wait, why are we here? I don't know.
Stupid battle droids, get out of the way! Hello there, this is General Grievous, and you are watching the Cantina Club.
Oh, Roger, Roger.